With the top 5 meta loadouts in Warzone and Rebirth Island, all these loadouts and class setups are actually really easy to use and basically have zero recoil. So the first thing I want to start out with is a static HV. I finally changed it up a little bit to make sure that everybody has as much movement as possible and as little recoil as possible. So we're starting out with the quartermaster suppressor. This keeps you off the minimap, helps with gun kick control and recoil control. The only downside is aim down sight speed and sprint to fire speed does go down a little bit, but the thing is the benefits just definitely outweigh the cons. 10% recoil gun kick and vertical recoil and 23% for horizontal recoil are just too good to ignore. The ADS speed going down 7% along with the sprint to fire speed 7% is not a big deal. We're going to take care of that. And we're taking care of that right now with the Auger 840 light barrel. The aim down sight speed, sprint to fire speed, movement speed, hip fire attack stance spread go up, and the recoil control and gun kick control go down a little bit. Now they reduce by 10%, so it kind of balances out with the quartermaster suppressor, but the mobility and handling increase are just absolutely phenomenal. For example, the 4% increase of movement speed is just a bit of a taste of just how good this attachment really is. The sprint speed goes up, tactile sprint, ADS movement, and then the ADS speed and sprint to fire speed go up by 7%. So it already cancels out the negatives of the quartermaster suppressor. So the quartermaster and the Auger 840 are just a perfect combination. Now this one's a little controversial because I like using the paracord grip, but right now I'm really enjoying the jack slash for movement speed, sprint speed, and vertical recoil. Now you do lose some hip fire spread and attack stance spread. I don't really think that's a big deal. The benefits are really nice. 8% increase on vertical recoil, 4% increase on movement speed, sprint speed 3%, along with tack sprint speed 3%. I think this is a really nice option. Now, if you don't want the jack slash, you could always put on the paracord grip for the 15% horizontal recoil buff, along with the 4% increase of movement speed, 5% increase of ADS speed, and 13% increase of sprint to fire speed. My personal choice is the NITR model 2023, but a lot of people like the jack glasses optics, so if you want to use that, completely fine. You lose a little bit of ADS speed though. That's why I like the NITR. You don't lose any ADS speed. Finally, the SPRY 34 light stock. This helps with aim walking speed, sprint speed, movement speed, and aim down sight speed at the cost of aiming out of sway, firing aim stability, and gun kick control. Now, the downside is only 8%. But the mobility and handling increases are just so nice. And this version of the static HV is just super easy to control. I've controlled it much easier than my other builds, in my opinion. The other builds are a little bit harder to control at long range, but in my opinion, this one's probably the easiest. And the beautiful thing is it actually has fantastic movement. As you guys see, you can actually fly around the map pretty easily. So if this is something that you want to use, you want to have good sprint to fire speed and good recoil control, then this is the best build for you. This static HV is what you want to use. So take a picture, screenshot, whatever you guys have to do. Right now for long range, I'm having the best luck with the Pulemyot 762. Throw on the quartermaster suppressor to keep you off the minimap, gun kick control, and recoil control at the cost of aim down sight speed and sprint to fire speed. There's no real better choice. I mean, I've seen all these other ones and I just don't really think they're worth it. Quartermaster is the way to go. Throw on the ST Pyro heavy barrel for the bullet velocity and range, recoil control, aiming out of sway, and gun kick control. Now you lose sprint to fire speed, movement speed, and sprint speed. Not really a big deal. The benefits for the range and recoil control are very, very nice. 24% for effective and minimum damage range and 13% for bullet velocity. I think this is too good to ignore. Now you do lose some movement, like I said, and handling, but it's just not something that really matters because this isn't an SMG. I threw on the Bruin Pivot vertical grip for gun kick control, vertical recoil, aiming out of sway, and firing aim stability at the cost of horizontal recoil, aim down sight speed, and sprint to fire speed. Now for this, I think this is the best choice. Some people may say the Bruin Heavy, some people may say something else. I think this works the best for me, and I'm going to show you why with the rest of the attachments. This is the most important attachment, the Jack Glasses Optic. If you're using the Coil Eagle's Eye, this might shake a little bit more. If you use the Jack Glasses Optic, this will not move. So make sure you guys are using the Jack Glasses Optic. Finally, I put on the Avanov Woodstock for gun kick control, recoil control, and firing aim stability at the cost of sprint to fire speed, hip fire attack, stance spread, sprint speed, and tactical sprint speed. The increase of recoil gun kick 21% along with the horizontal and vertical 4% are just very, very amazing for this weapon. And when I tell you this takes no effort to use, this thing has basically no recoil, and I'll be honest with you, I think it's better than the DTIR. I've been having a little bit less luck with the DTIR recently just because of the recent nerf. I just feel like it's not as good as it can be anymore, and this really makes up for it. It's a heavy hitter, it doesn't take much effort, it has 100 bullets. Like, why wouldn't you use this? But if you do love the DTIR, then here's the best class setup for it. Throw on the quartermaster suppressor to keep you off the minimap, gun kick control, and recoil control. This is the best choice overall. The Extend 10 long barrel for bullet velocity and range, damage range, and movement speed. This is actually a fantastic attachment with no real cons because who's hip firing this weapon? 20% across the board for range, and then 7% for movement speed and 8% for ADS movement speed. This is basically better than anything else. Unless you want some more recoil control, I don't think you need that. I think this is the best choice. Coil Eagle's Eye 2.5 times for this weapon. If you like the Jack Glasses optic, you can use that too. Rifle Med 200 stock for recoil control, aiming out, sway, and gun kick control at the cost of aim down, sight speed, sprint to fire speed, and movement speed. Finally, the 40 round mag. This weapon does not take much effort to use. I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty nice. Especially with the recent nerf, it's still really good in my opinion. Like it really gets the job done, but I feel like it's only with this particular optic. I don't know why, but this optic, I don't know if it's better hit scan or something, but it just hits a little bit harder than the Jack Glasses optic just for this particular weapon. So make sure you guys try this build out. Take a picture, screenshot, whatever you guys have to do. I've been loving the Rival 9. It shreds up close and does not take much effort to use. Throw on the Quartermaster Suppressor to keep you off the minimap, gun control, and recoil control. This is still the best option. There's no better option. Throw on the Rival C Clear Shot Barrel for aiming out of sway, bullet velocity, damage range, and recoil control at the cost of hip fire and attack stand spread, aim walking speed, sprint to fire speed, and movement speed. Now, I know that was a mouthful, but trust me, the range and recoil benefits are too good to ignore with 13% for effective and minimum damage range and 15% for bullet velocity. I think that this is really the best choice. I don't really see anything else that can keep up with it. Now, throw on the FTAC MSP 98 hand stop for aim, walking speed, vertical recoil, gun kick control, and movement speed. This is what I like to use. If you don't want to use this, then you can use the Jack Slash. I feel like that'd be a nice alternative, but just me personally, I like using this. It really gets the job done with not many cons. Throw on the 9mm high grain rounds for bullet velocity and damage range. You do lose some recoil, but the recoil is already taken care of with previous attachments. 15% across the board for range are just too good to ignore. And then the 40 round mag. This weapon absolutely shreds in close to medium range engagements. It doesn't take much effort to use either. Like as you guys see, there's a little bit of horizontal recoil, but honestly, if you're a controller player, all you have to do to really countermeasure that is just strafe left and right, and it should balance it out a little bit with the rotational aim assist. So here's the entire build for it. If you guys are keyboard and mouse players, I'm not gonna lie, you might be a little bit screwed with the horizontal recoil, or you could just take off the 9mm high grain rounds and then it'll be taken care of. Finally, the best AR in the game right now has been buffed over and over and over again, the SVA 545. They're on the sonic suppressor for being undetectable by the radar, bullet velocity, and damage range. This helps bullet velocity by 13% and effective and minimum damage range by 5%. Next, we're putting on the STV precision barrel for aiming out of sway, bullet velocity and range, gun kick control, and recoil control. You lose some aim down, sight speed, hip fire attack, stand spread, aim walking speed, and sprint to fire speed. Not really a big deal. The effective and minimum go up by 12%, 15% for bullet velocity, and the recoil control is pretty nice, but regardless, it doesn't really matter. Just because of something we're going to put on in the firing range. Putting on the 5.45 high grain rounds for the 15% across the board for range. Recoil control goes down, but once again, I'm telling you, it does not matter. 60 round mag to have as many bullets as possible. And finally, the Jack Glasses optic, in my opinion, this is the best choice, but I see some people using the Coil Eagle's Eye 2.5 times. So whatever you want to use is completely up to you. Now, once you get to the firing range, all you have to do is set this to single fire to show how deadly this is. This takes no effort to use. It basically has no recoil. Whatever recoil attachment you actually put on there, it's still nasty regardless. So make sure once you get into the game, you're setting this to single fire, because if this is not in single fire, then you're not getting the full benefits of the SVA 545.